Once upon a time, in the quiet town of Willow Creek, a girl named Elena lived a life that appeared almost ordinary until the night everything shattered. She had always believed her world was safe, predictable, and perhaps a little dull. But that illusion ended with a sound she could never forget. A single knock at her door. Sharp and deliberate, long after midnight, Elena froze in the living room, clutching the blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She wasn't expecting anyone, and certainly not at that hour. The knock came again, louder this time, echoing through the wooden frame of her small house. Her pulse quickened, her breath catching in her throat. Something about the rhythm felt wrong. Not the hurried knock of a neighbor in trouble, not the polite tap of someone she knew. It was steady, controlled, almost calculated. She considered ignoring it. Willow Creek was the kind of place where people still left doors unlocked, but her instincts screamed at her to bolt the latch. Instead, her curiosity betrayed her. Slowly, she crept toward the door. Her hand hovered above the lock, trembling, before she whispered to herself, "It's nothing. Just check, then go back to bed." When she finally opened it, the porch light flickered above, casting a pale glow over an empty doorstep. No one was there. Just the cool air of the night, carrying the faint smell of pine and damp earth. Her stomach twisted. She could have sworn she'd heard Elena shut the door, sliding the deadbolt into place, and pressed her back against the wood. Maybe it was her mind playing tricks on her, fueled by too many late nights and too much coffee. She shook her head and turned off the light, trying to calm the storm inside her chest. Yet, as she walked away, she noticed something chilling. On the floor by the door lay a folded piece of paper, carefully placed, as if waiting for her to find it. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. There were no markings on the outside, just plain white paper folded in half. She hesitated, debating whether to open it, but her curiosity gnawed at her. When she finally unfolded the note, her breath caught. Inside, scrawled in dark ink, were just 5 words. "Do not trust the mirror." Intermission 30-second pause in narration. Elena stared at the message, her heart racing. What did it mean? Who left it? And why her? The silence of her house pressed in every creak of the walls, sounding louder, heavier. The mirror in the hallway suddenly felt like it was watching her. She wanted to laugh, to dismiss it as some strange prank, but the words burrowed into her mind. The mirror. Her gaze drifted down the narrow hallway to where her grandmother's tall antique mirror stood against the wall. She had inherited it after her grandmother's passing, a heavy silver-framed piece with vines etched into the metal. She'd always found it beautiful, but unsettling, as though the glass held more than just her reflection. Lena took a step toward it, her bare feet cold against the wooden floor. The note crinkled in her hand as her grip tightened. The mirror loomed ahead, faintly reflecting the dim light from the street lamp outside. For a moment, she swore the reflection didn't match her movements. Her head tilted one way, but in the corner of her eye, her reflection seemed just a fraction slower, a fraction off. Her throat went dry. "You're just tired," she whispered to herself, forcing a laugh that sounded hollow. She reached out and touched the cool glass. The reflection did the same. Nothing unusual, nothing wrong. Yet her skin prickled with unease. Suddenly her phone buzzed on the table, making her jump. She glanced at the screen, an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "Elena." A voice whispered, low and urgent, "Don't look into it tonight. Promise me." She froze. "Who is this?" The line crackled. Then silence. The call ended. Her entire body shook. She tried to calm herself, but her eyes kept darting back to the mirror. She wanted to cover it, to drag it outside, to smash it to pieces, but something inside her whispered that doing so would only make things worse. Exhausted, she collapsed onto the couch, clutching the note like a lifeline. She promised herself she wouldn't look again tonight. She'd throw the mirror out in the morning, or maybe ask her friend Claire to come over so she wouldn't have to face it alone. With that thought, she drifted into a restless sleep. But, sometime in the night, Elena stirred. Her eyes fluttered open to the faint sound of footsteps echoing in her hallway. Slow, deliberate steps. Her blood turned to ice. She wasn't alone. She turned her head toward the mirror. In the dim light, She saw her reflection, but it was standing, smiling, while she lay frozen on the couch. Her scream caught in her throat, swallowed by the darkness. To be continued. Once upon a time in the quiet town of Willow Creek, there lived a girl named Elena who seemed to lead an almost ordinary life. But one fateful night, everything changed. Elena had always believed her world was safe, peaceful, and predictable. But after that night, her reality became a terrifying nightmare. The story began like any other ordinary day in the quaint town of Willow Creek. Elena, a vibrant young woman with dreams as big as the sky, was preparing for bed. Her room was a testament to her personality, adorned with fairy lights and posters of faraway places she yearned to explore. As she was about to drift off to sleep, she heard a sound that sent shivers down her spine. A knock, but not just any knock, a knock that shattered the silence of the night. It was well past midnight when Elena heard a firm, insistent knocking at her front door. Startled, she sat up in bed, her heart pounding like a drum solo. Each knock echoed through the silence of the house, seeming to come from just beyond the threshold of her perception. Fear clutched at her heart as she lay frozen, unsure of what to do next. The knocking persisted, each sound vibrating through her very being. What could it possibly be? Who could be out at this ungodly hour? Hesitantly, she threw back the covers and crept towards the door. Her hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob, the cool metal sending a jolt of apprehension through her. With a deep breath, she opened the door, but there was no one there. The porch was empty, shrouded in the darkness of the night. Disbelief washed over her as she looked around, trying to make sense of what she had just experienced. Was she imagining things, or was someone really out there? The rational part of her mind told her that it was just a figment of her imagination, a trick of the night. But a primal fear lingered. As the days passed, Elena couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that had been awakened that night. The memory of the persistent knocking still echoed in her mind, leaving her on edge. Sleep became a distant luxury, replaced by nights spent staring at the walls, each shadow seeming to take on a life of its own. Then one morning, she noticed something peculiar on her doorstep, something that would send a chill down her spine and deepen the mystery of the haunting. Elena found a folded piece of paper, its edges slightly frayed, as if it had been there for some time. The paper was of an old vintage, and the ink that spelled out the message seemed to shimmer in the morning light. The note read, "Do not trust the mirror." These words hung in the air like a premonition, casting a shadow of doubt over every reflection Elena saw. The seemingly mundane act of looking into a mirror became a daunting task, each glance a potential gateway to the unknown. It wasn't just the cryptic note that disturbed her. A sense of foreboding had taken root in her heart, growing stronger with each passing moment. The mirror in question was an antique, a relic from another era, intricately framed in silver. It had been her grandmother's, a woman she had adored and whose memory she held dear. The mirror had been passed down to her, becoming a fixture in Elena's room. Its presence, once comforting, now loomed over her like a silent threat. As days turned into nights, the unease grew, fueled by the unsettling note and the ominous mirror. Sleep offered no escape, and even the waking hours were filled with a gnawing dread. The mirror became a point of contention, its reflection a distorted image of the fear that was consuming her. Elena found herself avoiding it, not daring to meet her own gaze within its depths. The fear was palpable, a tangible entity that had invaded her life, turning the familiar into the frightening. Then came the phone call that shattered the fragile piece of Elena's existence. The call from an unknown number that pierced through the fabric of her reality and pulled her deeper into the abyss of fear. The voice on the other end was raspy and low, like a whisper from beyond the grave. "Don't look in the mirror," it hissed, the words slithering through the phone line like venomous snakes. "It doesn't want you to see what it has become." The line went dead, leaving Elena trembling in the grip of terror. Who was this mysterious caller, and why were they tormenting her? Their words echoed in her mind, weaving a tapestry of suspense that threatened to engulf her. The warning was clear, yet the danger remained undefined, lurking just beyond her understanding. Each word chipped away at her sanity, each ring of the phone a death knell to her fading sense of security. She wanted to dismiss it all as a prank, a cruel joke played by someone with too much time on their hands. But deep down, a primal instinct screamed at her to heed the warning. With each passing moment, the line between reality and nightmare blurred, and Elena found herself trapped in a labyrinth of fear. Days turned into a blur of anxiety and dread. The mirror seemed to mock her, its reflection a distorted view of the fear that was consuming her. Even in the daytime, shadows danced menacingly on the walls, and Elena felt a constant sense of being watched. Sleep offered no solace, and her dreams became a torment, filled with visions of the mirror and whispers of impending doom. Then came the night that would change everything. The night when the terror that had been simmering beneath the surface boiled over and crashed down upon Elena with the force of a tidal wave. It was a night like any other, or so Elena thought. The moon was a sliver in the sky, casting an eerie glow that filtered through her window and fell on the mirror. The room was mostly dark, illuminated only by the soft glow of a lamp on her bedside table. Elena was reading, but her eyes kept drifting to the mirror. The events of the day had been particularly stressful, and she felt drained, both physically and emotionally. The thought of rest, of escaping into the realm of dreams, was appealing. But as she tried to focus on her book, the events of the past few days, the warnings, the mirror, the caller, crashed over her. The calm facade she had been maintaining started to crack. She could feel the mounting dread within her, threatening to spill over. Suddenly, the room seemed colder, the hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. An inexplicable chill ran through her, making her shiver. Without knowing why, she turned her head towards the mirror, and what she saw there froze her blood. Her reflection was standing up. Startled, Elena blinked, thinking she had imagined it. But when she looked again, the image was still there, her doppelganger leaning against the doorframe, its back to Elena. The figure turned slowly, and when it did, Elena gasped. The reflection was smiling, a wide, chilling smile that revealed teeth that were long and sharp, like those of a predator. And then, as if emerging from a nightmare, her reflection stepped out of the mirror and walked towards her. Elena's scream died in her throat as she stared, paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. The reflection loomed over her, its smile widening, and Elena felt her soul being sucked into the abyss of terror. As the darkness enveloped her, Elena understood the true meaning of fear. The nightmare that had been haunting her was now a terrifying reality. In the struggle between her reflection and her real self, she knew she had lost. The battle between good and evil had been fought within her own being, and evil had won. With the disappearance of Elena, the town of Willow Creek descended into chaos. Search parties were formed, and the local authorities worked tirelessly to find the missing girl. But as days turned into weeks, hope began to dwindle. Elena's room remained untouched, a shrine to the mystery that had unfolded within its four walls. The mirror, once a family heirloom, was covered with a white sheet, its reflection shrouded in secrecy. The antique silver frame was cold to the touch, offering no answers, only a silent testament to the horror that had transpired. The community was left grappling with questions that had no easy answers. Some whispered of supernatural forces, of ancient evils awakened. Others clung to the belief that Elena would be found, alive and well, despite the fading hope. In the end, the truth lay buried in the depths of that antique mirror, a secret from another time, a sinister entity that had claimed another victim. And as the years passed, the legend of Elena and the mirror became a chilling tale, whispered around campfires, a warning to those who dared to look beyond the veil of reality. And that's the end of the story. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to share it with your family and friends. Please click the subscribe button so you won't miss any of our new stories. Thanks for watching.